for de informde aulene magdalena pedofili
Hey everyone, it's Sam, and welcome back to the 911 Nonsense podcast. To stay in the loop, learn about upcoming guests, and join in the conversations with the Noon community, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And hey, if you like what you hear in this episode, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Your support means the world to us. Nate, an ER nurse and travel nurse, shares his journey from bartending and barista work to finding his passion in healthcare. Inspired by the compassion shown to his mother during her cancer treatment, he's built a career across multiple states while balancing professionalism, empathy, and the realities of emergency medicine. We also talk about his social media, The Dude Nurse, where he uses humor to make nursing more relatable, his experiences navigating social media as a healthcare creator, and the importance of breaking down barriers between nurses, paramedics, and other professionals. Let's get started. Hey guys, are you looking for a top-notch first aid kit? Look no further than Jump Medic. Owned by a seasoned paramedic with over a decade of EMS experience, their kits are user-friendly and packed with essential supplies. From the most popular Pro Gen 2 to the compact hardshell kit, they've got you covered. You can even customize your own kit with the Build-A-Bag option. Enter the code NOON10, N-O-O-N, the number 10, and enjoy 10% off your order. Free U.S. shipping, and everything is HSA FSA approved. Visit jumpmedic.com and follow at JumpMedicUSA on Instagram. Stay prepared with Jump Medic. Good afternoon, guys. My name is Sam, if I haven't introduced myself yet, and I have an amazing guest on today. His name is Nate. Nate, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hey, how's it going, guys? I'm super excited to be here. Like you said, my name is Nate. I'm a registered nurse. I'm super excited to be here and talk about nursing.
That's awesome. I'm super excited. Thank you so much for joining us on the Noon podcast today. What got you into nursing, Nate?
In high school, I was just your typical like ADHD, kid who couldn't sit still. And I was like, what should I go into? Business or nursing? Because I know nurses run around a lot, right? That's like the general public, we know that. And not to like start off this whole podcast sad, but my mom had cancer when I was in high school, and she's still alive. But in high school, I would sometimes even leave early to go take her to chemotherapy appointments, and I remember one time I picked her up and she was crying, and I was like, oh, what's wrong? Like really bad day, or like, what happened? And she was like, oh, these are happy tears. And I was, why are you happy? And she's like, oh, my favorite nurse was working and he's just amazing. And he just makes me feel so seen, and I just love him. And I was like, damn, like what a powerful profession. You can take just your average day at work and you can make someone with cancer cry happy tears. And I was like, that's cool. I want to do that.
And that was it.
Kind of, yeah. And I remember in high school, I was like, I should take it in an MA class. And then I went to college, and yeah, was kind of sold since then.
Was it easy for you learning and getting used to like being around patients and sick people and throwing up and poop and all that stuff?
Not really. I was never a tech, so it was definitely a learning curve at first, I suppose, because I had not the greatest clinical experience in college, but you do it for a week, you get over it. I remember in college watching like the videos of like doing a catheter on a male. I remember getting kind of like, I might get sick watching this, because I was like, ooh, too close to home. And I just, the first time you do it, you get over it. It was fine.
It is. It does ultimately end up being fine, right? But since you brought it up, it's really weird how many how many penises and vaginas we touch on a day, like
Thousands.
on a regular day. Yeah, like seriously, hundreds, hundreds. And then you're like, sometimes it's like, how do I have sex? Like, this is some of
Yeah,
the nastiest stuff I've ever seen, right? But
sure.
then it's necessary. These are things that have to happen, and this is a normal thing for people, right? Like,
Yeah.
we have to normalize this kind of stuff because it's like a necessity. We need to do this.
I have like some buddies that aren't nurses, and they're very intrigued by our professions, and they're like, "Oh, like, do you ever get like a hot patient?" And like when I'm in the hospital, I am not thinking that at all. They might be objectively a good-looking person, but it's just like I'm at work, I'm a completely different person. We all have those private parts. I think literally nothing of it. You know what I mean? It's just
Yeah.
you separate it so much in the field, I feel like.
No, that's a great way to be, right? And when you say it like it completely makes sense too, because I'm not there shopping. I'm at work, right? Like this is something that I have to do to earn money. I'm not looking at what people look like. And,
Yeah.
we see some really cool stuff and we see some really scary stuff or some really bad stuff or some really gross stuff, like a lot of diarrhea.
Yeah.
One of my I was working in trauma the other night and one of the nurses was like, "Hey, Sam, will you start an IV for me?" And I was like, heck yeah, we're at like, it's like 6:55. We're getting ready to do shift change. I'm like,
Mhm.
yeah, I'll grab another IV on this person for you. He's super sick. So I walk over and I kind of move the blanket back and I see a mysterious puddle of brown. A
Brown.
puddle being the key word there.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Hey, buddy, like I think we have a cleanup in aisle 5 over here.
Yeah.
Uh, let's work on getting that taken care of. I'm still going to work on getting this line because this guy really needs this IV."
Yeah.
And I lift up his arm, and as I lift up his arm, the puddle just starts dripping down his arm, and I was like, "Oh, this is a lot worse than I initially thought it was going to be."
Yeah. They always come at the worst time too. You know,
Yeah.
with those rounds, like right in shift change, you want to set up day shift or night shift for success, and it's just every time.
Yep, right then. So we busted our butts and got them all cleaned up and worked on getting that second line, but it's just one of those things like it is what it is. Get it done.
Sure is. I love that we started this podcast so far guns blazing.
Oh yeah, definitely not the first time that poop has been the intro.
Yeah. But it doesn't really bother me, honestly. Like everyone has their ick, and that's not mine. It's fine.
I think I'm more bothered by solid poop than runny poop.
Interesting. Is it because they could throw it at you easy?
There there's always a chance,
Yeah.
and it honestly, like, I don't know, poop is poop.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of like real like there's really not a lot that super gets to me. We had a pretty like legit trauma the other day.
Hmm.
And do you remember, oh, I don't know, if when you were in high school if you guys had to dissect the pigs?
We never did that, no, but I do know like what you're talking about.
Yeah, it comes with a very distinct smell when you're doing that. And we had a guy who had gotten hit in the face. I don't even remember what he got hit with, but like basically half of his face was like kind of caved in. And
Sure.
when I walked over we were getting ready to unhook him to take him over to CT. And when I walked over next to his face, I got that distinct smell. And I was like, oh, that was
Oh,
weird. That was weird.
did it take you
That's
back
something.
to being in high school and you were
Yes.
just like, where's that pig in the room?
Yes. I was like, whoa, what is that? Well, and it's like a formaldehyde smell, right? So, and
Yeah.
this guy wasn't subjected to formaldehyde at any point in time, but it might have been like the mix of blood and
Sure.
I don't know. It was pretty gnarly though.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you have been traveling, right? You've been working as a travel nurse the last few years?
Yeah, I think we travel nurse, me and my girlfriend traveled together for the last, I want to say 4 years. I think we went to 6 or 7 states, and it was probably the best thing I've ever done with my life, wholeheartedly.
Because you got to travel, or why do you say that?
So my first assignment, I met my beautiful girlfriend. So like that was obviously amazing, right?
Sure.
And so then I kidnapped her, and now we traveled together. But it's you first and foremost, you got to help people. You got to be a nurse. I'm very proud to be a nurse. I love being a nurse. So I'm already helping people. I get to travel America with my best friend, and then also like I you get paid pretty well, right?
Pretty decent.
Yeah. So for early in my 20s, it was the best thing I could have done. I think to kind of I never went to college away from my home city, so it was like my college experience, if you will.
Sure.
And you just get a I've worked at I think 10 different hospitals now, so I just have seen so many different approaches to something. I've seen so many different amazing coworkers and doctors, and just I love learning, and it's just a great opportunity to learn anywhere you go.
What would you say has been your probably most favorite state?
We did Utah, and Utah was just beautiful.
Utah
all
is
the people
beautiful.
all the people there were just like cool too, like all my coworkers. It was in it was a very safe hospital. I loved everyone I worked with, and just like you could do a new hike every single day if you wanted there. It was just really pretty. We loved it.
Yeah, it's very outdoor friendly. Do
Yeah, yeah.
you own a Jeep?
I do own a Jeep.
Yeah, okay. That
The
makes
most
sense.
stereotypical travel ER nurse has a Jeep Wrangler.
I also have a Jeep Wrangler, so I can't
Heck
talk
yeah.
too much shit, but Utah makes sense for a Jeep.
Yeah, that's so funny. That's why I was a travel nurse, so I could afford the repairs on the Jeep, right?
Yep, just empty every pocket. Yep.
Yeah. I've not had that problem yet, I will say.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, you take care of it, it takes care of you, right? I
Yeah, for
guess.
the most part. I
Yeah,
would agree
the
with that.
pickups, the death
It's a
rattle.
Yeah, I it's not the problems that I'm spending all the money on, it's the accessories, right? Like
I get that. Yeah, I get that. Yeah,
yeah.
100%. Yeah, funny.
And I'm guessing it was while you were in college, you used to be a bartender and a barista.
Yeah, yeah. I remember I was a little barista and I loved that job. Just, making coffee, listening to some chill music, talking to some, buddies, at work. And I remember I had applied to be a tech 3 times, and I just never got a call back. And my buddy was like, "Hey, my other buddy's opening up a bar. Would you ever want to, bar back and get into bartending potentially?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure. Yeah, I don't know." And then became a bartender after bar backing for a little bit. And I just fell in love with being a bartender. And I was making pretty good money, And I
Hmm.
was like, I have these friends and they're techs and they don't seem very happy. I'm doing this and I really like it, and I get paid, probably twice as much. And I just was like, I'll learn that stuff later.
It's really funny, and I'm like honestly surprised that you didn't stay in the bartending job because that can even be better sometimes than the nursing pay that you get unless you're traveling, obviously, but
Yeah,
um that's crazy.
almost did. And I always read those comments. I know exactly who was a tech just by working with them. So many people ask me, "Oh, you were a tech, right? You were obviously a tech." No, being a tech definitely helps you transition into the nursing world, but like it just comes down to work ethic and like who you are as a
Hmm.
worker and your person. I hate when people say that. But obviously, being a tech is obviously great to be a nurse, obviously. But so is bartending, so is serving, so is so many other professions.
Any
Do
type of, yeah, service type of jobs.
Yeah, just do what works for you, and you'll figure it out.
What was your favorite drink to make?
Old fashions because they're easy.
Old fashions because they're
Yeah, we
easy.
were we were like a kind of a classic cocktail bar. We weren't like a dive bar, so it was like not really turn and burn, but you got busy and just I like just pouring the beers when we're busy. It's easier. you know?
Yeah, no, definitely.
Yeah, shaking the cocktails, that was really fun. It
Sure.
was. Yeah, that's. I
That's
wish I had a better
funny.
answer for that.
No, it's all good, dude. It's honest, and that's all that matters. What's your video game style? What do you like to play?
I so when I started travel nursing, I wasn't into video games at all, and I was lonely, so I got a little Switch, and played
Hmm.
some Switch games, and that was fun. And I was like, babe, I really want a PS5. That looks really fun, and I don't spend money on myself at all. And I finally just broke down like a month ago and bought the PS5. I'm playing some Star Wars game right now, and it's really really fun. I think I'm gonna get Eldering, I think it's called. I'm kind of a nerd. I like the fantasy stuff. I'm getting into that.
Elder Ring is hard. I will
I've heard that.
I will admit that I tried that one and could not get into it because it's it takes a very high level of focus that I do not have.
I take Adderall, so it'll be great, right?
Oh, there you go. I've really enjoyed Red Dead 2 and Dying Light 2, and I'm really excited for the new Dying Light that's coming out.
I've not even heard of Dying Light, so I will check that out. But I did just download Red Dead Redemption 2, and
Yes,
people say it will change your life.
it is amazing. It is I love that game so much. Like I'm still playing. I'm ashamed to admit that I've put in probably about 200 hours of gameplay on that game.
No shame, no shame. Did you play God of War at all?
Oh yeah, I love all of the God of Wars too.
I just played the first one, the 2018 one.
Hmm.
That was an experience. Like that was cinema. I thought that was just a great story. Very just like go go go. I really enjoyed that game. I downloaded the Ragnarok too. I'm excited to play that. Yeah, yeah. Just I just got into the little nerdy game thing, so I'm excited to explore it a little bit more.
You'll enjoy Ragnarok also. It's a very, if you like the first one, you'll like this one. They're
I'll probably
very,
try.
very good series of games. The original ones were also really good, but that was probably, you were probably very little when those came out.
Probably wasn't allowed to play them.
Yeah, probably.
We grew up really religious, so like if it was like I wasn't allowed to watch Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, I wasn't allowed to. So my mom would not have let me watch that or play it.
Harry Potter, that's an interesting one. Not a lot of people, I mean, I could see it, but why Harry Potter specifically?
Wizards, dark magic, you know what I
Oh,
mean? Yeah, but it's lame. Yeah.
that is
Now I love Harry Potter, love Lord of the Rings, love all that stuff.
all the
Yeah.
fantasy kind of stuff.
Just a late bloomer.
Yeah, that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. You have plenty of time.
Mm-hmm.
So in all of your travel experience, what would you say has been maybe one of your favorite or most memorable moments in your career?
Ooh, that's a good question. Um, for traveling, one of the most like notable things for me was it was my second travel assignment, and I had a really sick patient. I remember we were thinking about tubing him. We weren't really sure. He was alert and oriented times four. I distinctly remember that. I remember talking to him. I remember his grandpa's name, what his hobbies were. I talked to him a lot because he was like a really nice guy, and his ammonia levels were really, really high. And I remember there was a like a intensivist coming down, and he had taken over from the ER's care. And this guy was like, pardon my French, but he was like a dick. Like everyone warned me, this guy's a dick, and like don't mess with him. But I don't care. I'm gonna advocate for my patients. And when this is like my first month at this travel assignment. Been a nurse for 3 years. I get nervous to talk to doctors sometimes still, or even confrontation. And he didn't even like talk to the patient because I was at the bedside, and he just asked the patient's mom, like, "Hey, like, DNR, do you want to tube him?" And she's like, "No." And I was like, "Wait, why? We need to ask him. He's the patient. And I was like, "Hey, he's alert and oriented. Like, did you ask him?" He's like, "No, his ammonia levels are too high. I can just ask him the mom." And I was like, "Okay, but just so you know, I document that he's alert and oriented, and I think you should have that conversation with him." And he got so mad, and like he literally like had to pull me to a separate room in the trauma bay, and like I don't want to say it was a screaming match, but it was a very stern, just like confrontational thing. And I was just so nervous because I didn't want to do something wrong. I didn't want to piss him off. I didn't want to piss off my charge nurse. And like I like what a great first impression to my coworkers. Oh, Nate's already arguing with the intensivist, but I was really proud that I stood up for my patient and advocated for him. And it just when you travel nurse, you have to have the balls to do that sometimes,
Yeah.
and you gotta stand out and you just gotta follow your instincts, I guess.
Man, sometimes you got to put people in their place, right? Like he's obviously in the wrong if he's just coming in and asking the mom, unless the guy is less than 18 years old, which even then is still kind of on the fence on whether or not you should ask the patient if they're alert and oriented, right?
Yeah. He was an adult, and like I said, we were having great conversation. Like I really enjoyed him as a person. I felt really cool because the that intensivist had like a med student or something with him, and when like he left, she was like, "I'm really proud of you. Like you were 100% right. Like this guy's wrong." And I was like, "Yes, yes, yes."
That's awesome. I love those moments.
Yeah.
On the other hand, do you mind sharing maybe one of what your worst experiences that you've had?
Yeah, we worked in Nashville, one of my favorite city in the world, I'd say. And we were a very little hospital. Like on night shift, we'd be lucky to have five nurses, including the charge nurse, and we were very busy. It was in a not a great area of town, so we had. I'm not being dramatic at all. Two drop off GSWs every week, and we're a little hospital. And we parked and we were drinking our coffee. We were walking to the hospital, and we could just hear like cries. And my friend's like, this isn't good. And I was like, nah, it's fine. And we get there, and I would consider it a mass casualty because I think the definition of that is, there's like this many patients, but there's not as many like nurses or medics or to take care of these patients. You need more resources essentially. And yeah, thank God it happened during shift change, because if it was just us 4 people scheduled that night, it would have been terrible. But we had 2 pediatric patients that were shot, and I think 3 like adult patients that were stabbed. I think we did 3 chest tubes like on 3, on separate patients. Um, some of the nurses were running the code for the one of the kids that was a trauma patient, and it just was like probably the worst thing ever. You never really feel super defenseless as a nurse, I feel like, but in that day we felt just defeated, and we did the best we can. I'm super proud of everything we did. I really am. Um, but when we transferred the patient out and like, all the patients and the dust settled, we all just like had a big deep breath. I think a lot of us just went outside and we just like stood in silence. People were just like, hey, can I have a cigarette? And then it was because you definitely have those days where you have a patient, pass away, and you go to the next patient and go, hey, and that hospital is so small, like all the patients were actually really empathetic, and they're like, hey, are you okay? Like, we saw what just happened, and it was just a lot.
Yeah, it sounds like a lot. That it definitely sounds like you guys needed more resources, so you definitely didn't have everything that you needed, and it sounds also like you guys did everything that you could with the resources that you did have. So
Mhm.
that's good on you, and that's unfortunately part of working in our systems is that sometimes we might have some of those incidents. Definitely a lot of homie drop-offs. And I think
Yeah.
that's becoming a more frequent issue, you know what I mean, where they're just putting them in a car and dropping them off at the front door or any door. It doesn't even matter which door these days.
Yeah. Right. And that this is like an off topic thing, but this is why I'm so against downstaffing in the emergency
Hmm.
department or the ICU. Like, I so many times, oh, send 2 nurses home, and there's only 4 nurses in the unit. You never know when something like that is going to happen.
No.
And if like my family member or like my girlfriend was a patient and I knew that happened, I'd be pissed. You know what I
Yep.
mean? If you're going to float me or if you're going to downstaff me, I'd rather you float me. I'll go to the ICU and I could learn a lot from the ICU. You could send me to med surge. I learn a lot from med surge. Like, there's other units in the hospital that are probably drowning, and just because the ER is not super busy, don't send me home. I think that's silly.
Yeah,
I
we
always
very, very rarely send people home. Like very, very rarely.
I'm sure I believe that at your hospital.
Yeah.
Yeah. but um but that being said, I will go home if they ask me to.
You're like, you know what? Pick me first.
Yeah, I'm not in charge, so I can leave, but if
Yes.
I was in charge, I would say we're not downstaffing now.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I was always curious about that because a lot of the times the travelers are the ones who get floated, right? So is there a chance that you get floated to any unit? And are there any units specifically that would scare you to get floated to?
I've never been floated as a nurse ever in my
No.
life. I one time just helped go do breathing treatments for respiratory because they were short staffed, which I thought was great. Um, I, like I mentioned, I love being a nurse. I'm proud to be a nurse. I love learning. And I'm pretty outgoing for the most part. I feel like I can make friends relatively easy. So like, I'd be a little nervous going to any unit, I'm sure. Like, I wouldn't want the sickest patients in the ICU, obviously, right? But like, send me anywhere. I'll learn something. I'll help someone. I don't want to go to med surge, no offense, but like I would do if I had to, you
Sure.
know.
No, that's
Yeah.
awesome. We send a lot of ours to an inpatient adult unit, but
Mm.
sometimes they get floated to peds or to women's specialty care. And I just think if I was a traveler, I would almost probably not like that. I wouldn't be
You
a very
know,
big fan.
yeah, because I've done like peds ER before, but I don't like OBGYN stuff. They'd be sent. Yeah, I don't want to do that. No, I would learn a lot, but I don't want to do that. I
Like
would.
postpartum care kind of stuff. Yeah, yeah, that's it's crazy. You have to be if you're a good traveler, you're a very diverse traveler, right? So it means
Sure.
you have a lot of good in most every department, which is a good way to be. You talk a lot about being proud of yourself, and I'm really glad to hear that you talk about how proud of yourself. What is your proudest moment?
My proudest moment actually just kind of happened recently, and it's not even a huge story. When I was a new grad, I was on orientation, and I remember the room and everything, and I went in there, and the patient was pretty chronically ill, but not super sick, you know. Um, and I tried to get her up to go get a pee sample, and she was just kind of dead weight. Tried to get in her wheelchair. I just very, very carefully lowered her down, right? Her butt just kind of woo like that, and we just went to our knees very, very gently. It was technically a fall, technically, but no injury at all, you know. And I said, "Hey, can you go grab my preceptor? You know, I just need some help." I don't want to get too into the specifics because this was a very negative situation. But she got in a fight with the patient and the family members. I will say the first thing she said when she walked in was, "Nate, do you know how much paperwork this is going to be?"
Oh my
Like,
goodness.
why would you say that in front of the patient, right?
Yeah.
She handled it so poorly. And she was going through a lot, I'm pretty sure. She is a good nurse, but the family started yelling, everyone started yelling. I'm just sitting here like on orientation. I'm gonna get fired. I'm gonna get sued. This is the worst thing ever. I loved the family too. Before this happened, we were cutting up. The two daughters were so sweet. The patient was very. I loved them. They were just great. And I was so overwhelmed. I went and cried in the bathroom. For the first time I cried, I was just so. I just was getting beat up the whole day. You know, just everything went wrong, and I came back out and they could tell I was crying. I was like, "Are you guys okay? Like, I'm so sorry that happened to you, you know?" And they're like, "Oh no, you're great. You're so wonderful." They went and bought me a Christmas card, and they're like, "You're gonna be a great nurse. Like, don't let that mean person affect you, right?" They even got me a Starbucks gift card that I did not take, but I still have the Christmas card, right? And this was what 6, 7 years ago because I was a new grad, and just recently because I came back to my home state, I was at one of the little outlier hospitals because I work at all the hospitals through my system. And this lady checked in, and we looked at each other like, "I know you." And she goes, "Are you Nate?" And I was like, "Yeah, yeah. Like, who are you?" And she's like, "You took care of my mom." And I instantly just knew who she was. And she started crying. And she gave me a
Oh.
big hug. And she's like, "We think about you all the time." And just like you were the nicest nurse, and we just think about you all the time. And she said that her mother had passed, and she just started crying, and I honestly teared up a little bit, and it
Mm-hmm.
was just like a really powerful moment of like, you don't even have to be the smartest guy in the room to really impact someone. You know what I mean? It really showed me how powerful our job is, you know? And like I could tell you stories about how, oh, I did this cool thing, I did this amazing thing, or and anyone can really do that. But I think it's these days a lot of nurses are missing empathy and just listening to patients, and I was very proud of that. You know, I was.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. It's hard when people start crying not to cry with them, right? It's such a natural
Yeah,
human reaction.
yeah. But no, I think about that situation kind of, I don't say a lot, but it crosses my mind from time to time, and just it was cool that they remembered me, and appreciated me.
Yeah, that's super sweet. And
Yeah.
awesome that they did recognize you so quickly.
Yeah, yeah, because I had like a man bun back in the day, so it's like I look like a different person.
It's a little shorter now, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's
Funny.
awesome. And that's so cool. And you can tell when you've impacted somebody by the way that
Yeah.
they talk about you and talk to you, right? Like that's a huge moment for her to come up and hug you and just tell you how much that you meant to her. I think that really shows how you are and who you are as a person in treating those. And like you said, there are a lot of nurses who have lost their empathy. You know what I mean?
Ah,
It's a hard job. It is a
yeah,
hard
for
job.
sure.
You have to practice more at having empathy, I think, than patient care sometimes.
Oh yeah, it's. I just made a video about I think nurses should have to take an acting class because even if you're not actually feeling empathy, because I have those moments where I don't 100%, I'm still gonna fake it. You know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna make the patient feel like I do care, obviously,
Yeah.
but you gotta put on the show. No one
Yeah.
wants a grumpy old nurse.
Yeah, no,
They want someone who
sometimes
cares.
sometimes it's hard. I don't know how, like, we have nurses that love to be in triage, and I don't understand why when we are like at 50, 60, 70 patients in the waiting room with admits who've been waiting, 24 plus hours for a bed.
Oh
And
yeah.
they just love being up there. I'm like, you are crazy.
You just get yelled at for like 12 hours, just
All
constantly, just
day.
beat up.
Yeah, I know. And it's all like the silliest things too, like things that could be so easily fixed with like food. You know, if the patient can
Oh,
eat like a tray, a sandwich, they don't, nobody's really particular, but they haven't eaten in 24 hours. Give them food if they need food or a blanket or, you know, whatever they might need, something silly.
yep. And then they're here for like the smallest thing, and you triage them acuity of 5, and then they go back there, and then it's, oh, now I'm having stroke symptoms, and they're like, how did you triage this guy?
Yeah.
The story always changes. Everyone, the triage nurse is the most hated nurse on the unit for sure. Everyone's mad at them for something.
No, it's true.
Yeah, it sucks.
That is very true. If you stop and think about it, like that is actually true that the triage nurse is the one that probably gets the most flack throughout the night.
Oh yeah, we were in this little overflow unit, and they just sent us, I think 6 patients at the same time. There's 2 of us, and we're like, chill, like I hate you right now. And then you do one wrong room, and the charge nurse calls you. Why'd you put him in there? Because they're micromanaging you. Or then the doctors are upset, and then the patients are upset. Yeah, it sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do like it every once in a while, though. I do, but
It's good
not when there's.
experience for sure.
Oh, it is. Yeah, it makes you a lot better at decision making.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah. And
sure.
recognition, right? Seeing if somebody is actually sick or not sick, that kind of thing.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
You had talked a little bit about receiving negative comments through social media and how that can be hard for you also. Can you describe a little bit about what that means?
Yeah. I just am like a person, like and I'm working on this, but I care very much what people think of me. I really do. I want to be perceived in a positive way. And I am very empathetic towards people's feelings. And you see a video of mine, and I might be joking about one small thing, and they'll look at that one video and just write me off like, oh, this guy made a joke about this. He hates these people, or he hates this. And people will just be mean on social media for like, I feel like literally no reason, like at all. I just did a video and this dude just commented, guy nurse, I bet his parents must be proud. They are actually proud. Yeah, I made 6 figures a few times, being a travel nurse. I'm pretty
How much money are
proud.
you making, sir? Yeah.
Yeah, we're like, this guy just commented, and I don't even want to say it, but Gaylord Fokker. And I was like, cool, dude. Like, and he's not even like a nurse. I'm just like, it baffles me that people just will just write negative stuff about random people they don't know on the internet. Um, but I don't know, like I'll do like a bit about, I don't even want to say what it's gonna be, but it could be about anything. It could just be about psych patients, and it
Hmm.
might be them being like a little crazy, or like, making light of the situation. And people will message me and be like, you're the reason patients kill themselves because they don't feel protected at the hospital. I'm like, dude, like if you knew me, like I take that very seriously. Just any like mental health, psych. I almost did psych nursing. I love psych nursing. And like you're just trying to be so negative for no reason, I feel like. And maybe their heart's in the right place. Maybe it is. I don't know. But like to message me that, like I'm the reason patients do that to themselves. Like it's a little harsh, man.
Yeah, you're too nice. But the problem is
Yeah,
that people are bored, right? And they're
sure.
keyboard trolls, so they just like
Mm-hmm.
to make other people feel bad because they themselves feel bad.
Yeah, but I am always into like I do a lot of self-reflecting in general. Like if I get in a big argument, I really think, did I handle that right? Were they correct? Was I wrong? And I just, any video I post, I read the one bad comment, and it's done for. I just did a video where it was a joke about how different specialties open up a flush, right? And MedSurg opens it up super normal, right?
Hmm.
ER does the
Yep.
slams it on their leg and opens up. And I did a bit where ICU does it, and they wipe down the whole area. They wear gloves and open the flush up, and then they put on sterile gloves, and they use the sterile gloves with the flush because that's how OCD they are. And I wasn't thinking. I just put the sterile gloves on. Like I wasn't trying to be sterile. So many people message me and like, how are you even a nurse if you don't know how to put on sterile gloves? How do you even know how, like, you go back to nursing school, you idiot? And I'm like, dude, I wasn't trying to be sterile. I'm in my freaking kitchen, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then, and then the med surg nurses are commenting, oh, you don't know anything about med surg. We have 6 patients. We're opening up. You think we have the time to open it up like that? I open it up in like 15 seconds. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it just is so mean and
People can't handle jokes. But you know what that gets you?
views.
Yes, whether it's
Yeah.
positive or negative, you got
Sure.
views and you got engagement. And that's
I
how you
know.
make money on Instagram, social, like any social media platforms, is
It's true.
engagement, whether it's positive or negative, which is why a lot of the like troll people that post like bad stuff get money anyways because we're watching it and then we're talking shit to them about it. You know what I mean? And then we're feeding
Yeah.
other people. So it doesn't matter, honestly, Nate. It doesn't. You're doing funny stuff. You're making people laugh, and the trolls are gonna hate, but you know what? They're still gonna give you money because they're still watching. They're still engaging. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
No, I appreciate that. And I mean, it got kind of bad for a little bit. I actually like started taking Boost Bar just for the
Mm-hmm.
anxiety. It was I didn't really want to, but it was really kind of getting me down for sure. But then like besides that, I do get so many, not so many, but people messaging me and be like, had the worst day of my life as a nurse, just got my butt kicked. This video made me so happy. Like, thank you for, being positive. I have all those saved and it means a lot. You know what I mean? To be there for other like healthcare professionals because I get it. Our jobs suck sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
I love being a nurse. I think I will always be a nurse, but some days just freaking suck. And if I can make someone's day a little better, I know it's like the cliche to say, but like it means the world to me. It really does. I think it's so cool. I have that power.
Yeah, you're a very positive person, and you like to think positively about everybody, even when they're not being positive, and that's a great way to be.
Yeah,
Don't let that get you down. Don't let it
I
get you down.
try. Yeah, my girlfriend always says that too, but easier said than done, right?
Right. But if it ever gets to a point where like it's too much, you can also step away from social media.
I thought about it many, many times for sure,
Yeah.
but
It's
it's so fun.
it is fun. It is
I
fun. And
love
you
it.
don't even have to like quit. You could just take a break for a little bit. Some people
Mm-hmm.
need that, you know what I mean? Look at Sam, the ER nurse, you know. She had to take a break. She recognized it. She did, and now she's getting back into it. And that's phenomenal because she
Yeah.
recognized that she needed that.
Yeah, my buddy Scrub Laddie, Brock, he makes content. He's just like the nicest, funniest guy. We had a good talk about that actually, and he's kind of on a break right now. And I was like, I might do that myself.
Yeah. Yeah, don't be ashamed to do that. Did you say his name was Scrub Laddie?
Yeah, he's wonderful. Yeah,
Laddy? Laddie?
yeah, I believe so. Yeah,
Okay.
I'll text it to you too. But he's wonderful. Really cool guy. Really really great advocate for nursing too.
That's awesome.
Just like a positive. Just he's from Wisconsin. He's like the most Wisconsin guy you ever meet in the best way. you know.
It's hard because people do want to be positive and they have good intentions for their social media, you know what I mean? And people just want you to be as grumpy as they are, and that
Mm-hmm.
does make it difficult.
Yeah, for sure. I do think, sometimes other people do beat down on the patient sometimes. That isn't great, obviously. Because when I post a video, it's not just for nurses, it's for everybody, right?
Yeah.
Everyone can see it. And I think I needed to learn that. But yeah, I do think you should keep it relatively, respectful, obviously, and professional. But, it is social media. Who I am in my videos is not who I am at my job. They're
Right.
two completely different people.
Speaking of professional, did you happen to see the TikTok that popped off? Oh, it's so bad.
Oh, I already know
Uh,
what you're talking about.
the
Yeah.
gynecology one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, goodness. So, just for context, for the people that are listening, there was a group or a clinic, I should say, that posted a social media video of when patients have gynecology appointments and they go in and they have the jelly placed or whatever, they go in to get seen for their women parts. And when they sit up, some of that jelly comes out, which is normal. I mean, it's getting put up there, it's going to come out, right? The clinic then posted videos of the staff getting close to those stain marks on the paper and making gestures with them, and it was just very, very unprofessional. And it's stuff like that that makes the rest of us look bad. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I remember reading the comments on it, and it was just like the oh, this is proof that all nurses are bullies, and
Yeah.
there's no professionalism these days, and it's you know there's bad apples in every single profession, and I'm not even saying they're the worst apples. They made a mistake. It wasn't the best thing to do by any means. We don't know a lot of the background stuff, but like, was it smart? Absolutely not. And that was not the right move whatsoever. But yeah, there's just people like that in every profession, right?
Yeah.
And I just hate that every comment was just punching down on nurses. It's just like, come on, guys, like
Well, like
we're
nurses
all in
as
a
a whole, right? Not just those ones who made this bad decision, but nurses as a
yeah.
whole.
Don't group me into that.
Yeah.
I would not have done that.
No, it's so true. Like, oh, it's so hard because you want to, like, maybe context was everything, right? Like maybe
Sure.
they had a reason for doing that, or maybe it was somebody who was angry at the staff that
Yeah.
happened to do that. Like, I get inside joking and dark humor. I totally get that. But posting on social media, which is a major platform,
Oh
especially
yeah.
on TikTok right now, where literally everything can go viral within seconds, you know what I mean? That makes it
Literally.
hard.
Yeah. Yeah. I always try and see both sides, but I do think they were just wrong to do that, obviously, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Not the best move. Especially
Yeah.
something so like, sensitive as that, right?
Yes.
Like it maybe be one thing if it was like, I don't know, like I've definitely had a time where like people leave jewelry or like a wig or something at the bedside. It's like, oh, they left us a present, right? Or like, but that was, yeah, a little vulnerable.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a
Yeah,
little much.
it's
One of
weird.
the things that speaking of grossing out, like one of the things that grosses me out is when patients pull out, like if they have an NPA in, right? They yank out the NPA and there's like a foot long of boogers hanging from the end of the NPA. That's pretty gross too.
I was almost gonna bring this up earlier because we were talking about poop, about everyone's like thing they hate. Nothing really grosses me out, but like when someone like old people take out their dentures and they pull it out and they haven't washed them for a while and they got like that film on them
Hmm.
and that just big thing of spit like mozzarella cheese on a breadstick just stretches
Mm.
and it just you, you smell it. I can't do that. I cannot do that whatsoever. That's the one thing that just grosses me out. You know what I'm talking about.
I
I see your
do.
face right now. Yeah, it's just that long piece of spit,
Uh,
just stretched too
oh,
thin.
it's so true.
Yeah, it just has a funky smell.
It's
Yeah,
so gross.
yeah,
On that note, Nate,
yeah, yeah,
like
yeah.
I would like to give you the opportunity to talk or chat about anything that you feel that we didn't talk about, or if you'd like to plug yourself and your channel and all the things that you're doing, this is your opportunity, my friend.
Cool. Yeah. So yeah, I make social media, and it's been kind of my main hobby, just like the past year, because I haven't been doing it very long. And it's called The Dude Nurse, and I just do some funny bits here and there, or try and make nursing relatable. I do think I have a more positive outlook on nursing than a lot of other like social media people. And like it's not my end game to do social media. This would never happen. I could get a six-figure brand deal tomorrow. I still just like being a nurse. I just want to be a nurse. You know what I mean? I very much so enjoy the bedside. Me and my coworkers were even talking about that the other day, and they're like, "Oh, I can't wait to leave nursing." I'm like, "Why?" I think it's a pretty solid job. You know what I mean? I don't know. Um,
I won't lie, like if I won the Powerball or if I got rich, I'd be like, see you later.
yeah,
But I've been doing this for 20, almost 21 years now. Like I'm ready. I'm
yeah,
ready. Not that I don't
that's a
love
good.
it and I do love what I do. But if I had the opportunity to go and do whatever I wanted with an unlimited amount of money, I totally would.
That's a good point though too, because yeah, I've only been a nurse for 7 years, right? Yeah, opposed to 22. Maybe my opinion would change. I'm not sure. But as of right now, I still really enjoy it.
That's good. I mean, the average lifespan right now for a nurse coming out of school is about 5 years. So you're already doing better than some of your colleagues.
I just, what are we doing besides that though? You know, because like in Indiana anyway, I was looking it up and like, oh, maybe I could be like a trauma NP, right? That'd be really cool. And I look up trauma NP, and right now they're getting paid, I think, $5 more than me only. And I'm like, why would I want to go do that? Or like, what else are we doing?
Like
You know
so
what I
much more
mean?
responsibility, right?
Yeah, I don't know where like all the nurses are going. That's what I'm confused about, I guess.
I
But
think the majority of the moves are into like away from bedside, right? So
mhm.
out of bedside together and then into an education role.
Yeah, and you know what? I would probably do that. I always say like I think it'd be really fun, and I don't want to get my master's degree by any means, but I think it'd be really cool to be like a college professor. I would love to do that. Even just like being a clinical instructor would be really fun, right?
Education is so much fun. I actually didn't realize how much I was going to enjoy it until I actually started doing it. So, like, I got my AHA instructor cards and have a blast teaching adults CPR.
Oh,
And
do
then I
you
have a,
really?
yeah,
That's
and then
sick.
have a lot of fun doing other classes too. Or like, if we're, so the hospital I work for is a training hospital. So, when I'm there and I'm hanging out and we're all surrounding either like a really bad trauma or even not a bad trauma or like a resus patient where they're super sick and we're trying to stabilize them, I really enjoy taking the techs or even the nurses if they're willing to listen and kind of explaining pathophys and going over medications and like plan of action kind of thing. So what's going to be happening next? And it's a lot of fun watching them go like, really? This is
Yeah.
cool, you know?
You know, that's really, I mean, I guess sad is when you said the nurses, if they're willing to learn, because I've been a nurse for 7 years. I feel like I'm pretty damn good at it, but I'm going to learn something new every single day. I can learn something from the techs, the EMTs, the medics, the doctors, the PAs. Hell, I've learned things from janitors before. You know what I mean? And if
Mm-hmm.
a nurse thinks they know it all, it's just bad. You're just get out of here if you just know everything, you know?
It's hard, and I won't lie, like there is a respect level, right, for between paramedics and nurses, right?
Yeah.
Because
Oh,
in
yeah.
in the flight world, paramedics and nurses are equals. They're
Yeah.
exactly equals in the flight world. Nurses learn how to intubate and do all of the skills that paramedics do, and paramedics learn medication management with multiple drips. We learn that
Mhm.
ICU level stuff that nurses have, and we share with each other, right? So it's a big thing. When you come into an ER, sometimes you're not getting that same level. Sometimes you're getting treated a little differently than you would in a flight world or even, anywhere else that you would work, whether it's ambulance, ground, or as a paramedic in the ER. There are different levels of respect, and you find out pretty quickly who has issues and who doesn't.
I just, that boggles me so much because I mean, just from the get go, I first of all, just paramedics and medics are just like the coolest people ever, in my opinion. They're just cool, like they're just cool people in my like. They have an aura to them, in my like. They're just fun. So like, I've always just thought they were really cool, and like whenever they come in, it's even if it's not my patient, I'm gonna go, oh hey, like how you doing, Amy? Like how are you guys doing? Like just they're my friends because we see them so often.
Yep.
And it is just so weird that nurses are just mean to them. Like they're just doing their job, bringing us a patient.
Yep.
They're being nothing more than, the not all med surg nurses do this, but oh, I can't believe you're giving us a patient. Yeah, it's your job. Okay. You signed up.
Yeah.
And, yeah, a medic or a paramedic may do a wrong call or not give the best description of the incident, but just like triage, emotions are so high, like the patient's freaking out. Can you get a very detailed history when they're freaking out? Not all the time. So you might miss some stuff. And yeah, I just think nurses need to be so much more forgiving because you guys are our teammates and you guys are cool as hell.
Well, and
No.
we're not just to the EMTs, right, and the paramedics, but also to each other, right? There's
Oh,
a
really?
huge, like, and it's with EMS and with nursing, and people who say otherwise, you are very incorrect when you say that nurses don't eat their young or that EMTs or paramedics don't eat their young because they very much do. And we need to have that culture shift. And it's something we've talked about, and it is something that I am seeing start to change, which is great, right?
Yeah.
Phenomenal stuff, especially when you like have the ability in a high stress situation to step it down a notch and be like, this is why we're doing it and this is how you do it. And sometimes you might have to dumb it down because they've literally never done it before, right?
Yeah,
But you do what you got to do, and how you train those people, like, greatly shows who you are as a person.
yeah, 100%. It is really sad. I was talking about this with my buddy too. I don't I can only speak on the ER, but I do think in the ER there's a lot of big egos,
Hmm.
you know, and we want to be the biggest badass in the room. And it's just, we're comparing, sizes by how much you brag sometimes. And it's so annoying. It's not a competition, Like I could miss a very easy IV. I'm pretty damn good at IVs, I will say. It's like my one skill, right? Terrible at everything in my life except for IVs. I'm pretty good. I could miss an easy one, no problem. And a new grad could get it first try. Does that make me a bad nurse? No.
No.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
For a while, I probably haven't paced someone for about a year. So if I had to pace someone at work tomorrow, I might have to ask a new grad, can you help me with this? It's been a while. Does that make me a bad nurse? No, not at all. So it's just so weird. Just like nurses judge each other so much sometimes, and not all nurses, because but it's kind of exhausting some days where you just kind of you're fighting for respect, I guess, or just kind of proving yourself. When I know I'm a decent, good nurse, I don't know.
Yeah. No, I feel that. I feel that. There's got to be that culture change.
Yeah, because then we all just make mistakes too. We always will. I will probably the next shift I work, and I'll learn something from it.
It's a
I don't
great
know.
attitude to have, Nate, and I'm super proud of you. And I am so pumped that we have somebody so positive putting out content, because there's a lot of negative content out there. Keep doing what you're doing, man. I super appreciate it. And today's been a phenomenal conversation, and I appreciate you so much for coming on the Noon podcast.
I appreciate it so much too. This was a lot of fun. I just like talking shop with people.
This is the best part of this gig.
Yeah, right. My buddies, my best friends are bartenders and servers and things like that. So when I tell them about my day, they don't understand what I'm talking about. So it's nice to have a real conversation with another healthcare provider, healthcare worker. It's great.
It is nice. I agree. It is different. My wife isn't actually in the medical field at all. And
Hmm.
sometimes that's very nice, right? Because you want to get yourself out of that like environment, but then sometimes it makes it hard because you might not understand the things that I may be upset about or even very excited about.
Sure. Yeah, I definitely get that. My girlfriend now though, we're having a power or a problem in this house. I'm the ER nurse, right? So I'm great at IVs. She was a NICU nurse forever, so does IVs every once in a while. Now she's on the IV team. So now she's better than me at IVs. Now it's a power struggle now. I'm inferior now.
I'll solve that problem for you. I'm a paramedic, so I'm the best. Just kidding, Stephanie.
It's really fun. You're right. Yeah, cool.
All right, brother. Well, it was a great conversation. I hope to talk to you here pretty soon.
I appreciate it so much. Thank you so much.
Yeah, have a good day, brother.
Thanks for tuning in. If you're enjoying the show and want to show your support, be sure to check out the Noon merch store on Bonfire. Find the link in the description below. Also, if you have any guest suggestions or if you're interested in being a guest on Noon yourself, visit the website at www.samspursuit.com to get in touch.